No.
It was 70 last year this time.
And I left for soy.
I know.
They had quite a bit. Apparently it was a problem.
I don't like
We
it.
are ready. This is the Little Rock Founders Lions
Under my
Club
desk.
meeting starting now with our.
Are wonderful.
Yes, hello, Lions-ians. It's your favorite tail twister. You only have
Luckily, he's the only tail twister.
one choice. A little Thanksgiving humor. What kind of music did the Pilgrims like? Plymouth Rock. Oh!
Oh.
Oh! Why can't you take a turkey to church? They use foul language. What happened when the turkey got into a fight? He got the stuffing knocked out of him. Oh! Oh, thank you, Lineville. That's rare that you like one of these jokes. Gosh. Some of these jokes, I can't read some of these. These are from the bad website. Okay. What did the baby corn say to the mama corn? Where's popcorn? Okay. Why do pants of pilgrims keep falling down? Because their belt buckles are on their hats.
What?
The belt buckles are on the hats. Haven't you ever seen a pilgrim before?
So what was the first part? Why
Oh,
did
God.
the pants keep falling down?
Yes, why do the pants of pilgrims keep falling down? God.
I did too, yeah.
What do you call the day in November when your son and all his cousins get rowdy? Spanksgiving. Not too good. Not too good. Okay. Okay, well, which side of the turkey has the most feathers? The outside. Oh, what do you call an evil turkey? A poultrygeist. Ah, you know you love it. Please, don't get up. Why did the police arrest the turkey? They suspected it of foul play. Oh! Boom, okay. Lion Bill's just sitting there. He usually will. Okay, what happened to the pilgrim? What happened to the pilgrim who was shot by an Indian? He had an arrow escape. Oh! Keep your seats. I'm here all week.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Can we get a recount?
Recount, yes. Go to Florida, you'll get one. That's true.
I don't know. Is that a hanging chat over there?
Hey, same to you, lady. Okay,
Or the hanging judge?
yes, the hanging judge. And finally, the last joke of the day. What does Dracula call Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving. Oh! Thank you, folks. Tip you waiter. I love you. I mean it.
Mr. Tail Twister?
Yes, Lion Gio Venazio.
Yeah, speaking of tipping your tail twister, I got some money
Yes.
because I know that I'm not hiding from media appearances anymore. And I have another one tomorrow, so I just brought you a 10. I
Holy
think that will open us
smokes.
up.
If Lion George were here.
He'd be happy, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, stand up and tell us.
What?
What are you paying for?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, we have, he said stand up.
Oh.
I can follow directions. So, y'all know that we had our Vision Award on October 10th, and our award recipient was David Basil, former Razorback, and radio and media personality, and now I want to buy metal roofs and have my bathroom refitted for some reason, because he's on at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so because of his media connections, we had a lot of media exposure. We've been on THV 11, KARK, we were on the radio several times, and then we have another segment coming out on THV 11 tomorrow at 6:35 a.m., and it's Watson and I, who are appearing about service dogs. They're doing a whole segment about service dogs, and so mine's the only real one that's on there, but that's beside the point. So, we've had some great exposure to that, so it was a good Vision Awards season, and in midst of some very, very busy travel seasons as well. So I'm always happy to come to my Lions Club meeting, but I knew that I better bring a fine with me, because every time I walked down the street, I was like, "Hey, we've seen you on TV." I was like, "Was that the mug shot at the post office?"
Great job.
I want to welcome everybody here today, and especially for getting out on this nice, warm, sunny day. And we're so glad to see Sharon back today and the others that are joining us today. I'm going to call online Candy to please give the invocation. Everybody will stand.
Want to bone the donor?
Ding!
Okay, she caught it in the mouthful. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, thank you for this Lions Club and its service to everyone in the community. Help us to become better Lions and help everyone that travels this Thanksgiving holiday be safe and to enjoy and remember why we have Thanksgiving and appreciate everything around us more. And of all things, remember those who are not able to be here today and our military overseas, and help us to love each other. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Lion Robert, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yeah, let us face the front. I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have to get Lion Gill's help.
Yay. We have a duet.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
All right.
Ironically, do you know what country Thanksgiving is not celebrated in? Turkey. I'm serious.
Thank you. We have quite a few anniversaries this month of November. Don, and we don't have George here, or we don't have Ted Delahaye here.
How many years? Did it say?
Somebody will have to tell me that, but we do have Lion Cassandra here, who's celebrating her anniversary along with this month.
Who's playing?
Uh-huh.
And the birthdays this month are Bethany. The Bethany and Gerald have birthdays this month.
Who's playing? You said Ted. I paid for this. Was it this Don or that
You
Don?
paid for her.
No, I paid.
That
Wow.
Somebody else
Hey,
paid.
we got somebody.
I want to.
Thank you,
I'll take the
Lion.
Ted's and I'll take the Cassandra's.
Just to have testimony, that $10 that Lion Sharon gave me, I'm going to put it in my pockets, and I'm not going to put it in the bank, because I'm not sure what will happen to it.
And Mr. Cassandra.
Okay, I'll put these in there.
And also, Robert is gonna pay my dollar fine because I left my name tag at the office.
Well,
I paid yours.
I think this is called check
I
writing.
paid yours and I paid Ted's.
Check writing.
Thank you, Lenore. A man with a dollar, never to be forgotten.
Thank you so very much for all the contributions. We have several announcements. I think, Bill, you've got some information for us
I
on
do.
paper? You'd like to share it with us?
Please. go to the front so we can report if you choose.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't do it anyway.
Because I'm too lazy to move the camera.
Hello. Hello, America.
YouTubers.
YouTubers.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, it's time for our Candy and Nut Sales, our annual Candy and Nut Sales, supporting Little Rock Founders Lions Club and our charities. On your table, you'll have a full color brochure of items that are available today and this year. So ranging from pecans, cashews, mixed nuts, all the way into a couple of offerings of boxed candy. You'll also see the order form. These orders need to be turned in by the end of this week, or Friday, to me. And my telephone number for texting and my email address is at the bottom of the form, and you can get these to me. And you can also give me a check, or we can put it, you can mark the little box here and we can put it on your account. We've off to a good start. We already have over $1,000 in candy orders already. So keep up the good work. The candy will be delivered somewhere in around the first week of December. Candy and nuts. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm sure you would appreciate it for those that are here that might turn in their order today to you before they leave.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see what we can do with that. Now, what did we decide to do on hams for Christmas? Did we move them to Easter, or can we do that?
We can do Easter. We will not be doing hams this Christmas.
Okay. But we were gonna check and see if maybe we could do it for Easter. If you'll check that out.
Okay.
Sharon, you have some information on the Christmas trees? Or does somebody have information on Christmas trees?
Well, the email came from Cynthia saying that, I think Eric Yarborough said we did not confirm the school compliance, so we're not gonna partner with that project.
Yeah, we
I got
just,
that from Cynthia today. So,
yeah,
Okay.
is that your understanding, Sharon?
yeah.
Okay.
But the blind squirrel will still be selling
They have
trees, so
theirs.
if you need a Christmas tree, go over to the blind squirrel to get it.
Right.
Fine.
We're not partnering with
We were a little worried about the neighborhood and, yeah.
Right.
The labor cost.
Yeah, because we'd have to have 24-hour security. Or they just would walk away in one day, so I don't think we'd make any money off of that, so.
Anything be done, Cleon, on the market for the spring, or do we need to get a committee together and start working on that after Christmas?
Well, I was hoping someone would step up to take over my role as the lead of that. And Tom, since he was so enthusiastic last year, we may get Tom and Michelle to kind of, and Michelle was the other one. She's with her mother today. Hopefully her mother's going to get, her mother's starting back to work, but she had something else to do. She couldn't do it with her. She's with her dad. But Michelle is active in the vintage stuff. But yeah, we probably should start thinking about that. I just got back from Alley, I'll talk about later, and figured out this district governor stuff is not a cakewalk. So I am going to be really, really busy. So
Well, on that note, would you and Candy like to come up and share some of your information from the conference and what y'all are doing as second vice and vice governor?
I got several things to talk about.
Well, come on up.
I'll be brief.
Yes, yes.
And
I would. You want to go? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, hi guys, can you hear me? Okay, if you can't, just wave. I don't want to keep you in suspense about the district convention, so I will warn you now. Cleon and I were elected as your Cleon being your first vice district governor for next year, and myself as your district governor for next year. Thank you very much. I thought we would get that suspense. I know y'all were all just waiting.
So first.
Speech. Thank you very much. We had a fantastic convention. I'm sorry that some of you couldn't come. It was a lot of fun. We had past international director Kimbra Smith. Don would have loved her. I thought about him. She was an attorney, is an attorney. She has all these credentials. He would understand that I don't. And she's had all these positions and service things and done every kind of law imaginable, including immigration law, and I think many forms of law that had initials and acronyms that even beat DHS's acronyms and bureaucracy. So anyway, but she was fantastic. She talked about the importance of line service around the world and what a difference it made in the world. And it was very good. That was the main thing I drew from her talk, but she told about herself and her, how she got to her position. Anyway, it was just very interesting. She's a wonderful person, very sweet, down-to-earth person. She's from the South. She's from Georgia. So, of course, that may be part of that sweetness and that down-to-earthness. Message from District Governor Gloria Montgomery was centered around membership goals. She wants every club to get 2 new members from this past July to next June. That's a year. So I believe we can do that if we haven't already. Those were the main things. Friday night we had a Christian singer who has been to Nashville and gotten awards, sold records, has record contract. He writes songs for himself and for other people. He started out as a PK, Preacher's Kid, if you don't know the acronym. I was one. I am one. Anyway, he lives in Nashville and in Smackover, and he's a line. And he was fantastic. And I thought Cleon had sent the YouTube video we made that day, that night, but I looked back to make sure that they had all gotten it, and you only sent it to Gloria, Wanda, me, and maybe 1 or 2 other people, I think.
I thought they were going to forward it out. So
And they didn't, so I guess,
maybe send a reminder to them to send it out. I don't have their email contact.
oh, I thought just to our club you could maybe. But anyway, it was great, y'all. He can really sing. And he's funny. He was like a stand-up comedian also. And so then Brandon did Family Feud of Lines questions. And that was fun. That was a challenge. And then the next day he did his Forrest Gump routine that he reprieved from his uncle. And the other highlights were the food, of course. We had great food. We did have butts. I promised you butts. Some of you didn't enjoy the butts. You didn't get to come. But we did have those barbecued items. On Friday and then on Saturday, we had catered good food, too. I have my grocery list on one side and then my notes about what to tell you on the other side. So that's why I almost gave you an information about blueberry pancake ingredients.
You hand the blueberries before or after the butter?
Oh, it depends. Some people put them on the griddle and let them bubble up a little bit before adding the blueberries. I add mine to begin with. I don't want to forget them. Okay.
That's what I do.
But anyway, those are basically the highlights. Oh, the other thing, I didn't know and didn't think about this, but you can invite someone who is still in high school to be a member of your Lions Club without a Leo club. And that was one thing that Leanna and Gloria Montgomery, your district governor, brought up. And I did not know that. But Leanna had her daughter who is in high school there as a Lion. So that may be something you want to think about. Not only recruit your spouse, like they've been telling us, but any high school students that you're an aunt, uncle, or parent to, think about recruiting them. And that is my summary because I told Cleon I would leave open some things for him.
Hello. I have a little report on my glasses. I have delivered 560 pairs on October the 26th to Christ the King. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this on our last sitting, but I got a call from Lieutenant Stratton from the Air Force Base, and he was going off to Guatemala in one of those C-130s. And someone gave him my name in connection with the Lions Club, and I was able to give him 100 pairs to take to Guatemala. Yeah. And this was a surprise to me, but I received, 5 boxes of glasses. There were like 78 in one box, 58 and so on. And they were from different sororities. Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Whitehall, and Bentonville. And they were so nice and all cleaned up and everything. I've asked Cassandra to write a thank you letter to them on behalf of the Lions Club. Thank you.
Okay, on the glasses, I also received a couple of boxes from the El Dorado Lions Club, and then also a box from Lion Brandon Sims that he collected some. And I brought those last week because, you know, it'd been 2 weeks since we had a meeting, so I came to the building last week, although it's the second and fourth Wednesday when we have a meeting. So I left the boxes, and I guess someone took them to, what's the lady here that does the? Louise. So they were in here, so if you could check after the meeting, or when you can, with Louise, and credit El Dorado and Brandon Sims. I didn't separate them. I dumped them all together, so you just have to give credit to both of them on those. And there's a whole bunch of eyeglass cases in there. So that's one of the things I guess people really like is to have all those eyeglass cases. On the district YouTube, I met with Jeff Davis this past weekend, and he's the guy that does the state newsletter, and I'll see if we can get our district YouTube on that. Got some sad news to deliver, and some of you may have received the email. Lion Tammy, past President Lion Tammy's mother, has just yesterday been put in hospice, and it was unexpected. So just please remember Tammy and her family in your thoughts and prayers. I have our 2019 state pins. If anybody wants any of those, the Razorback pin, which is really heavy, it will cause you to set off alarms in the airport when you're going through security. I have those. They're $4, and then the little small, just the state pin, is $2. So I have those if you want them that I picked up from the state group. I just returned from Winnipeg, where I did an intensive leadership training that's all mainly for second vice district governors. In my opinion, it's the best leadership training that I've ever had. I've been to a lot, it's been a while, but this was really good training. I mean, I recommend it to anybody who gets a chance. There's an emerging leader training that I've just talked to Lion Betsy about, and anyone else that would be interested. But it is really outstanding training if you get an opportunity to go to that.
I went last year.
So next year, Lion Candy will be representing us in the tough spot of Milan, Italy.
Oh.
So we all feel sorry for her. So. Yeah.
Is this, Lion Cleon, is this a paid trip?
Well, I think that a portion of it is paid by the state and a portion of it is paid by the LCI, because I kind of thought differently when I was running for this office, but this is not a cakewalk job. There's a whole lot of work involved with being district governor.
Lion Cleon The accordion
Yeah.
started in Italy.
Yeah, you should you should accompany her. You should accompany her as her guest.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's
Get
a
in a
great.
gondola, and that's in Vegas. Get in one of those gondolas, and you watch the married couple smooch and kiss on the
Good roommate.
balconies.
Now I've got
She's a good roommate.
I've got to speed this up because there's a bunch of stuff I've got to do, and I know that everybody really wants to hear the Pigskin preacher. So, but one of the courses that we had at that this alley or advanced leadership was about the Lions Club International Foundation. And I am the Lions Club International Foundation coordinator for our club. And I've mentioned that before, and maybe I kind of glossed over it because maybe I didn't really know much about it. But I know more now. It's celebrating its 50th year this year. And here are the categories of grants that they give out. So the money that comes in, you know how Lions work. So we take in money from the public, then 100% of that goes out. The administrative fees for our clubs pays for our clubs the way they operate. Anything that comes into our club from outside has to go out. That's our rule. And I don't think the IRS is that strict, but we are really strict on that with Lions. It's the only club probably does that, or organization does that. But here's the types of grants that they do. Humanitarian grants, and under this there's three categories. There's a matching grant, there's a Lions Quest grant, and there's a diabetes grant. And you can probably figure a little bit about what each of those does. There's a Site First grant, and then there's a disaster grant, and then under disaster grant there's four types: emergency, community recovery, major catastrophe, and preparedness. And emergency grants, kind of like what you think, something in your community that happens. A major catastrophe is something that isn't done by a club or a district. It's done by Lions Club International Foundation. So like in Japan, when they had the major catastrophe there with the tsunami, the board decided to send them money, and so the clubs didn't get involved in that. But they make that decision, and they respond as Lions, representing all of us, and also representing this foundation. Community recovery is like, that's the type of things when tornadoes and hurricanes hit. And preparedness, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, but our club does, because we had the Lions Alert trailer at our Market and Bazaar last year or 2 years ago. That was purchased with $10,000 from this Lions Foundation grant. And what that does is, if a community gets hit by a disaster like a tornado, it's filled with boxes that are labeled blue and pink with emergency supplies for men and women, and with some clothing, some toiletries that are targeted toward gender. Also had some rakes in there. They've got a lot of different things to help with the community, and our district restocks that. We have sent that to Houston right after the disaster. We also sent it to Florida. And so the $10,000 bought the trailer, but our district restocks it after an emergency. And and the way to get that grant is you have to have a history of disasters hitting your area, and we've had a lot of tornadoes come. So we got this emergency trailer, and it's stocked, and we've used it, and it's an ongoing thing. So it's very, very important for our community. Next couple of things that they do is they do LEO grants, and also district and club community impact. That's a new type of grant that they do. So there's lots of different ways that this money comes back. So now they have this thing called Campaign 100. So for the next 3 years, they're raising $100 million per year. And they want every member to give $100 per year, and some of you already have, but that's
that works out to be between $8 and $9 a month. So there's a lot of things that this gets targeted for. Let me just tell you a project that's just come to me. And so we're going to talk about that. I wish George or Bill were here today. But UAMS has a teleretinal screening pilot project. They've requested $90,000 from LCIF. Well, in order to do that, they have to have a partner in a club. So they've approached me about this. This is larger than a club, so this is going to either be a district thing or a state thing. But what they're going to do is, or what they're already doing, is they're going out into the community and doing screenings. And then that's one of the things that's a preventable blindness issue. And so it's very, very important for people that have that potential to detect that early. And some of you know more about that than I do. One of the problems is in the rural parts of Arkansas, people don't follow up on their exams. So they don't necessarily do what they should do to help themselves. So by purchasing this equipment, they're going to be able to go out into these communities and do these screenings and help some poor people out in the community that don't follow up. So they've done research. It shows on here in their application or their information. I can give this out to you. But it shows that they've done research, first of all, that it has an effect. So they've got statistics and data here that they've collected from their pilot program that, first of all, it helps the patients that do this detection. And also it has an impact in the community, because you say, well, is it going to really make a difference with these rural areas? Do they need to be reached out where they are? Well, they've got statistics to show, yes, in fact, it does have an impact in the community, that the status quo is not satisfying. So this little bit of money can reach a bunch of people, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that this will help. So I'm gonna have these campaign 100 pledge forms. You can do it where they will do it to your credit card and just deduct the $8 or $9 a month to do the 100. And so you can do that. I'm going to hand these out, and please fill them out. I wasn't as serious the last time as when I handed these out, but I feel the impact a little more than I did before.
That's great work, Leon.
And if anybody wants to see this background on this, we're gonna approach that. Yeah, you have it. I brought those. One more thing. I got a couple more things. I'm not gonna let you out yet.
John, do you know if they've approached Lowe's with that yet?
It just came to me. It just came to me. Nothing's been done. I'm trying to talk to Lion Bill Heaston or Lion George, because I know that they've done LCI grants before. I brought that today just mainly for them. I know that it just came to email to me.
Because Lions of Arkansas Foundation might be able to do something as well.
Well, the 90,000 I think LCIF would do. But I think it depends on which type of grant. So I've listed those different ones. Sounds like the typical ones that they do is a humanitarian grant. Could fall under that. But there's some other, like Site First. The Site Grant is another one. Some of them, like the Site Grant, doesn't have a limit. The humanitarian grant, I think, has the upper bounds. I think it's 100,000, and it requires a 10% match. So if it's 90,000, then the state or whatever would need to come up with 9,000. So we might be able to do that with Loaf. Loaf, I think, has a limit on $1,000, and so we may need to do something special with that. And I'm not the one that necessarily knows about that. Let's see. I don't want to take. You're probably coming back up. Do you have something else to say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'll go back to you then.
Thank you very much for all the information. I do want to pass around a sign-up sheet. This is for the programs every month, and there was a sheet that was passed around, I think, earlier last spring, and we're not sure where it vanished to.
Line Secretary, you put me down for June. Thank you.
So, we do want to get all the months spoken for. So if you haven't spoken for a month or signed up, please sign up on the sheet. Yes, Candy?
I forgot to say something about the convention. Everybody that attended was asked, or every club was asked to contribute, to the pediatric cancer for, Children's Hospital. And so we filled a table and a wagon. That's all I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Camera.
They asked me to come up front, but I don't think the camera can see me for this because I'm so short.
Well, stand up.
Tippy toe. If you can still hear me from the mic, all the clubs attending convention and all the individuals were asked to bring items for pediatric cancer patients of all ages at Children's Hospital. And we were able to fill a tabletop and a wagon of items, gift cards, T-shirts, pajamas, Razorback items, which they said was particularly popular among all ages, and toiletries, gift cards for gasoline, restaurants, things that traveling families to bring their kids to the cancer wing of Children's Hospital could use. So anyway, I wanted you to know it was a big success, and I took some things, and I don't know about other people, but of course it amounted to a lot.
Thank you. Another announcement that I would like to make is that we did hear from Katie Morse, and she was unable to be here today because her husband, they were having the Thanksgiving celebration at his nursing facility. I don't know if there's any other announcements or comments anybody wants to make. If not, I'm going to turn it over to Cleon to introduce our program today. Thank you.
Okay, so normally we have something related to sports in August or September, but didn't work out this time. So, but Chuck has agreed to come back, so actually it's probably good because this is when the people start getting focused on the end of the season. And so we've had a lot of talk earlier about all this serious stuff, but now we can talk about some fun stuff. And I know there's several people that, like Don Roberts is one of the people that would like to hear this guy that they call the Pigskin preacher, and they think that he does his sermons all day long about football. But I can say that he talks about God and other things during the sermons, and appropriately addresses the fun stuff to fill in around that. And I'll introduce him right here.
I owe all of you an apology. I was supposed to be here in August, and I wish I could say that there was a good reason for me not being here, like I was saving the lost or rescuing kittens from trees. I'm just getting old, and I forgot. Cleon had given me a 2-month walk-up telling me when my date was. I had written down my calendar, and I had neglected to look at my calendar, and does it get worse as you get older, remembering stuff? I'm dreading that. That's gonna.
Note to your shirt helps.
Well, I've heard strings around fingers and things are good, but it's always good to be here. I think I've been coming and visiting with y'all for the last several years, but as Cleon says, usually it's around the first of the year, and we make all of these grand prognostications about what's going to happen, and then it turns out that none of that stuff actually happens. So you end up having a little egg on your face. But now is actually a good time of year to sit back and survey, because we're coming down the home stretch, at least in the college football season. Do we have any Razorback fans in here? A few? We can't call the Hogs in here. I can't do that. There's a funny story about that. I married a girl from Oklahoma.
Sorry.
If I'd have known then what I know now. That's not Oklahoma State.
Yes, it is.
And you're waving that around after last Saturday?
Hey, it could have gone either way.
I understand that, but here's
You
the,
have to respect the Pistol Pete over here.
well, I do, but
I just want you to know that
This is one of those-
this is
Yes.
the Lions of Arkansas,
Yes.
right? The Lions of Arkansas, which covers the whole state. Our state pin every year has a Razorback on it.
there you go. I mean,
I'll give you one of those.
Well, thank you.
Here's the matching one for
I
you.
will wear this with pride. That will be outstanding. I was going to say I did a eulogy last week for a good dear old friend who was 80 years old as he shuffled off this mortal coil. He was an Oklahoma State Cowboy. He graduated from Oklahoma State. He loved to talk about Oklahoma State. Everything to do with Oklahoma State or the Sooners, you know, he always had a word about that. And I said, now here's something that you need to know. This is Bedlam Week, okay? It was leading up to Bedlam Week last week. And as I did the funeral ceremony for Terry, there you go, right there. I said they call it Bedlam in Oklahoma because it's just really frenetic and it's very pitched and intense. Here's the thing about this series between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma leads it now, 88 wins to 18 losses. That's not much of a series. I mean, nothing. I mean, more sympathetic I could not be. My team is Michigan, and we've lost 12 of the last 13 to The Ohio State University, which I'm very hopeful in 2 weeks we're going to turn that around. But you got to kind of, if you're a fan, what do? You always keep hope alive. That's what you do. So I appreciate you Oklahoma State folks doing
Who was
that.
the Oklahoma State person that you did the service for?
His name was Terry Hitchcock. Terry was a good man. Despite the fact that he was an Oklahoma State fan, he was very optimistic. Or maybe because he was an Oklahoma State man. Because you have to be optimistic. And I think Razorback fans right now recognize that you've got to be optimistic. My friend Wally Hall and I are getting ready to go speak at a meeting up in Jacksonville in a couple of weeks. And Wally likes writing his articles, obviously, but he doesn't necessarily like speaking in public. And he didn't want to do this, but I said, listen, I've been requested. I mean, it's one thing if I show up. It's another thing if the dean of Arkansas sports writers shows up. And like Cleon and Tom, Wally goes to church with me. So, you know, I can lean on my folks once in a while and get something done. So Wally was amenable to going up there. But it strikes both of us. There's a very good chance that the Hogs are going to lose this week to Mississippi State. And they're almost assuredly going to lose at Missouri. That would mean that their record for the year is what? 2-10. Okay, 2-10 is not very good. But I want to give you a reason for hope here. There is a silver lining in that ominous dark cloud of 2-10. They are recruiting at a level the likes of which they may have never, ever achieved, even when they were winning a lot of games. When Frank Broyles was there, and then when Lou Holtz was there, and Ken Hatfield was there, and Bobby Petrino was there, which, shall we observe a moment of silence about Bobby Petrino? You know, sometimes your deeds catch up with you, and sometimes your record catches up with you. But in this case, Coach Chad Morris is bringing in players at a record clip. They signed a kid the other day, a 4-star defensive back out of Louisiana, and in one of the polls, that puts them in the top 10 of all the classes for next season. If you can pull in those kind of players when fortunes are at a rather low ebb, that I'm wondering. I think this guy's on the up and up. I think people see something in him, and you got to have players. They say it's not as much about the X's and O's as it is about the Jimmies and the Joes. Well, he's bringing some Jimmies and Joes in. So all of you who are Razorback fans, I think, can be optimistic. I think good times are coming in the future. Hey, what else are you going to hang your hat on, right, at this point? And certainly not 2-10. The college playoff rankings have been released now for the last several weeks. I'm pretty optimistic at this point, knock on wood. My Michigan Wolverines just squeezed into the top 4 at the 4th spot. And I think if we win out, we're probably going to be okay. You always hear some of the SEC talking heads engaging in all of these ridiculous, far-fetched scenarios. Well, what if Kentucky wins all their games? They'll be in over Michigan. What if Georgia wins all their games? What if Bruce Willis doesn't get up there and blow up the meteor and it crashes into Earth? Then Michigan won't make. And I'm thinking, I've lived long enough to know this. You don't count your chickens before they're hatched. We might lose to Ohio State in a couple of weeks. We might lose in the Big Ten championship game. You know, there's all kinds of what ifs. You don't really play those out. That's why as they say, you put the games on the field and let the results speak for themselves. But some people are calling Alabama the best team in college history. I think it's probably a bit premature for that. They're good, but right now their quarterback's hurt. And their backup quarterback is also hurt. He just had surgery a couple of weeks ago. So if the other guy gets hurt and the other guy's hurt, then, you know, that you're kind of dipping down into the cupboard a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. But it should be an exciting season. Finale as the conference championship games are played out, the last of November, the 1st of December. Then, of course, the bowls will happen. And obviously, the Hogs aren't going to be in a bowl this year. But I heard some of my friends on the radio the other day saying we're going to be in a bowl next year. We feel good about that. So hope springs eternal, I suppose. Any questions or comments about this college football season? Yes, ma'am. Or about anything else? Yes. What's that?
Get your name. Someone tried to explain it to me. I just want to.
My name is Chuck Monan, but nobody calls me Chuck. Most people call me Pigskin, as in the pigskin preacher. So I go on the radio. You work for a living, so you don't.
Well, no, she is a state employee.
She's not like most of our listeners, just sitting around in a Barca lounger listening to sports talk radio, eating Cheetos. I mean, 103.7.
That's what Sharon's. Sharon had her focus speaker at. Go ahead, Sharon. He wasn't here when you made the.
No, yeah, we had Baz was on.
The Baz, he was honored, I saw, by World Services for the Blind and everything.
And so you have the Baz on the buzz, and Pigskin Preacher is on the buzz with Baz.
The Baz has been one of our good friends and boosters. He had me on his show for the last half hour the other day, last Friday, and he's done a lot. We've started a new congregation in West Little Rock, and he's done a lot about giving us a lot of good free advertising. But Baz is a good man, and when I saw that he was honored by this organization, I was really glad about that. I know that meant a lot to him as well. So anybody got any bold takes on like the rest of the season or what's happened so far? I'd be curious to hear.
I don't know if a bold take, but you know, I noticed you even gave Ohio State the credit of saying the Ohio State. I would think a Michigan fan would drop off the D. But
you notice I said that tongue firmly planted in cheek. Yes.
Yeah, are they morally corrupt at Ohio State?
I said on the radio last week to Justin Acree, my co-host, I said, usually God's got bigger things to worry about than who wins a football game or, you know, who goes to this bowl or that. But it's about time that I'm going to start asking the Lord to get personally involved and do something about the Ohio State University, because I think everybody's had it up to here with those clowns. You know, they just keep getting in trouble and more trouble. And if you've noticed, even in the last couple of days on social media, their former assistant coach he's still stirring the pot. And I'm like, you know, sooner or later, the posse's going to catch up to that bunch, you know. And you being an Oklahoma State man would know something about the posse with, you know, Pistol Pete and everything. So I hope so. You know, usually one of the things that's been amazing to me in my study of world religions is that every single religion in the world has some sort of concept of divine retribution. In Hinduism, they call it karma. In the Old Testament, in Hosea, it says they sow the wind, they reap the whirlwind. In the New Testament with Christianity, in Galatians, it says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. Whatever a man sows, that also shall he reap. Almost every religion in the world has some concept of that. I think there's a reason for that. I think God has implanted into our minds, no matter what ethnic group or racial group you may be part of, what part of the world you live in, that how you treat people and how you live your life ultimately is going to matter. I think all of us would agree with that. I mean, why else are you guys on this endless campaign of do-gooding that you do? I mean, because it matters. It makes a difference. I'm thankful to know folks that are concerned about people that maybe are not in a position to pay anything back to them. But, you know, even on such a level as football, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't suggest football is as important as a lot of other things. But how we behave and how we comport ourselves and conduct ourselves and treat other people, that does matter. And in a serious answer to your question, they better start straightening up and flying right down in Columbus, Ohio, or something bad is going to happen to them. I've seen it happen to greater folks than themselves. So we shall see, as a wise man once said.
As just a follow-up comment, Urban Meyer left Florida supposedly because of the stress or pressure, or he was having a nervous breakdown. He hasn't done much better.
It seems like wherever some people go, the same kind of problems follow after them, and that probably is not a coincidence. I'm hoping that we contribute greatly to his stress levels in a couple of weeks, especially as our defensive linemen chase his quarterback and try to plant him in the ground like you would plant a daisy. So we shall see. Yes, ma'am.
We have a few members, including myself, who are Red Wolf alumni.
Boo.
You want to say for the camera a few words for them?
Well, sure. What they've done in Jonesboro has been remarkable. I mean, this is a one horse or one hog state, as it were. It has been forever, thanks to Frank Broyles. You know, in other states like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State play. In Michigan and Michigan State play. You know, in California, USC and UCLA play. In Arkansas, Frank Broyles, with an iron fist, said we are never going to even dignify the presence of other institutions. I think that's a mistake. I hope that changes. I made friends a few years ago with the head Red Wolf himself, Terry Mahajer, the athletic director, and I know Terry would love to see that game played. And this hasn't been as good a year for Coach Anderson and the Red Wolves, but they've had several good years in a row. So, you know, you got to tip your cap to what's going on in Northeast Arkansas. They've built a pretty solid program, and maybe, just maybe, one of these days, the new athletic director at Arkansas might say, you know, let's keep that extra money in the state of Arkansas and let's play each other. And I don't think that'd be a game that they'd have any trouble selling seats to. I was up at the Alabama-Arkansas game just about a month ago. They're playing the defending national champion, the number one team in the country, and there were about 35,000 empty seats. I would just make a prediction. If they had been playing Arkansas State, I don't think there would have been any empty seats. So maybe that would be motivation for Arkansas State to have a place at the table. I hope so.
You got any comment on the NFL and the national anthem?
Oh, man. They've done everything they can to kind of quell that controversy, because if you've noticed in the last couple of years since all that's happened, the ratings are down. And a lot of people get really upset when they see people, in their estimation, disrespecting the anthem or disrespecting the flag. I think I understand a little bit about the motivation behind some of the people doing that. I wish that there would be a better forum, perhaps, that they could bring up grievances. I mean, when we're seeing some of the incidents of racial violence, and we're seeing cops in Dallas bust into the apartment of a kid that's doing nothing except sitting in there and shooting him dead, there are problems. I think that we need to recognize that as a nation. I wish that there were a way other than that to draw attention to it. That's just one man's opinion. There are others that disagree with that, but this is a great country, but it needs to be a great country for everyone, not just for a particular few. So I would share that sentiment, at least. Any other thoughts? Football questions? If you want some tips on the weather, I'm familiar with this stuff. I could probably help you out with that. I saw a guy, I was taking my wife back from a doctor's appointment this morning. We saw someone that had known us for a while. He said, "Aren't you used to this kind of weather?" I said, "Yeah, that's why I moved." Most of us don't want it that cold. You were in Winnipeg recently?
I was in Winnipeg.
What was the temperature up there?
It got up to about 20.
Oh, man. So in looking at the leadership, some leaders go to Winnipeg when it's 15 and some go to Monan. I'm just saying, I mean, if anybody's trying to figure out who the real cagey ones are, there you know. So there you know. That's it.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
So who's going to be in the football, the last two?
Almost never does the Final Four this early in the season remain intact. So somebody's going to lose. There's a very good chance that Notre Dame could lose to Syracuse this week. They play. Listen, for all of our friends that are not Catholic, it seems like if you're Catholic, you're rooting for Notre Dame. If you're not, you almost never are. And I live just a couple of hours away from the Notre Dame campus, so we've had a big rivalry with them forever. But they're good this year. But Syracuse is good, and they've got a lot of speed. They play really hard. I think if Syracuse had them at home, I think I would pick Syracuse in the game. But it's technically a Notre Dame home game, and it's at Yankee Stadium. So it probably could be 20 degrees out there that day. And there are more Notre Dame fans in New York City than there are Syracuse fans in New York City, even though Syracuse is in the state of New York. So that'll be interesting to see. To answer the question roundabout, I would not pick against Alabama. And right now, I would say since Alabama and Michigan, if Michigan gets in, are probably going to meet in the first round. I don't know if Michigan's got enough to beat them. I think it'd be Alabama and Clemson for about the 17th year in a row. You know, it's I think everybody's getting tired of watching Alabama win, though. And I think if Michigan or somebody could jump up and bite them, I think everybody'd be really happy about that. I know I would be happy about it. So that would be good. Any other thoughts? Any other questions?
Petrino is out again.
He's done, but did you see what they gave him as a nice parting gift?
Oh, yeah. Millions.
$14 million. So they came and they said two things. They said, number one, get out. Number two, here's $14 million. And here's the question. If somebody gave you $14 million, would you be really upset about having to go home? I probably wouldn't either, so there's that. Well, if you have me back next August, Cleon, Scouts Honor, I'm going to be here, so you put me down. And
Oh yeah.
but I bet what Cleon and Tom will do the next time is they'll talk to me the day before. He talked to me 2 days before at church, and I still forgot. So I mean, yeah, that. I don't know what it's going to be like in a few years, Cleon. I hope to remain somewhat intact. Well, it's good to be with you all today, and thanks so much for the
Well, I know for a fact that today he only got a couple hours notice, so we really do appreciate you filling in and coming and giving a wonderful program to us. Any other announcements or comments or questions? Okay, turn your sheets in for your orders to Bill before you leave. Have a wonderful, wonderful, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, do we have, actually, that's a question. Do we have a meeting, second meeting in
November
November?
28th. It's after Thanksgiving.
It's after Thanksgiving, so we are meeting.
We should be.
Are we taking up a collection for, did we take up a collection in November before, or is it in December that we take up the collection for the kids?
It is December.
Okay.
And Cynthia, she's working to see if the East Lab can come for that meeting in November.
Oh, okay.
28th.
All right.
The December meeting, the DSB staff won't be able to be here on the 12th of December. We'll be at our meeting. So,
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Push the bell.
After,
Yeah, we got a picture.
I would like to have a photo of Cleon and Sharon
And then the knock it with.
No, if he-
Thank you.
Steve was on the board for the fellowship. Good man.